All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we take the everyday world around us and break down the fascinating science that's hiding, well, right in plain sight. Today we're looking at a brilliant automotive engineering mystery. You've almost certainly noticed it, maybe even absentmindedly picked at it with your fingers, but you probably never fully understood it. We're investigating the science behind a totally universal feature of the automotive world and answering the question, why in the world do brand new tires have hairs?
Seriously, what exactly are those little rubber hairs clinging to the tread and sidewalls of brand new tires? I mean, if you've ever bought a fresh set of tires for your car or just walked past the dealership lot, you've absolutely seen them. They look almost organic, right? Kind of like little bristles or, I don't know, stubble on a massive rubber donut. And honestly, pointing this out instantly opens up a huge curiosity gap. Why on earth would highly engineered, heavy-duty automotive parts come covered in these flimsy little spikes?
Well, they definitely aren't a mistake, and they actually have an official name. Industry insiders call them vent spews, though you might also hear them called vent whiskers or nibs. Basically, they're tiny rubber hairs created strictly as a byproduct of the modern tire manufacturing process. So just by learning that term, you're already getting an insider's look into the wildly complex world of automotive engineering. But to truly understand what a vent spew actually is, we kind of have to look at how a tire is born.
So let's step off your driveway and straight into a high-tech tire factory. Picture this, a cavernous manufacturing facility. The air is thick, and the floor is just totally dominated by massive curing machines and these incredibly heavy metal molds. This isn't just a simple matter of pouring liquid rubber into a bucket, right? Modern tire manufacturing relies on extreme heat, super complex chemistry, and literally immense pressure. All of that is needed to forge something that can safely carry thousands of pounds at highway speeds.
Okay, so here's the precise sequence of events going on inside those metal molds. Step 1. Thick, unvulcanized, molten rubber is forced into the highly detailed metal mold of the tire. Step 2. As that rubber expands to fill every single microscopic groove and tread pattern, it actually traps pockets of air against the solid metal walls. Step 3. Under extreme pressure, that trapped air has to go somewhere, right? So it gets pushed out through these tiny microscopic vent holes engineered directly into the mold itself. And finally, step 4, the pressure forces the molten rubber to follow that escaping air right into those tiny holes. That's where it cures, hardens, and bam, forms those little rubber hairs.
Now, knowing how insanely intense this whole process is, you might be wondering, why go through all that trouble? Why are these microscopic vent holes even necessary in the first place? I mean, why not just build a completely smooth, perfectly sealed metal mold to avoid creating these little whiskers altogether? It honestly seems like a whole lot of extra engineering and precision drilling just to create some tiny air vents, doesn't it? Well, the answer really just comes down to safety and fundamental physics. Think about it. If that trapped air couldn't escape during the molding process, the tire wouldn't form perfectly. Trapped air ruins structural integrity. It creates air bubbles, little voids, and weak spots deep inside the rubber. And in a product designed to withstand massive road friction, heavy loads, and super high speeds, an air bubble is just a catastrophic failure waiting to happen. So the vents are actually an absolutely essential engineering solution to ensure the tire is completely solid and perfectly shaped.
All right, let's shift gears for a second and look at the cultural side of this little engineering quirk, because we desperately need to do some debunking of tire grip myths. Human beings just naturally love to find patterns and invent reasons for things we don't quite understand. And vent spews? Oh man, they have generated some truly wild misinformation over the years. I guess because they're on the outside of the tire, people just naturally assume they must have some sort of active driving purpose.
But it's time to separate myth from fact. The most common myth out there is that these tiny hairs are intentionally designed to enhance grip, traction, and overall performance, kind of like cleats on a sports shoe, Or maybe that they somehow help the tires stick to a wet road. But the scientific fact? They're just a completely harmless manufacturing byproduct. Like we just saw inside the factory, they do absolutely nothing for the car's handling. Zero.
So let's just emphatically spell it out right here so we can put these myths to bed forever. I want to ensure you completely unlearn them. Ready? Vent spews do not improve your grip on the asphalt, they do not increase your safety in the rain, they do not boost your traction when you're cornering, and they definitely do not enhance your car's overall performance. No way. They're literally just leftover bits of rubber that happen to cure inside a microscopic exhaust pipe meant for trapped air. That's the whole shebang.
Okay, so if they're just harmless byproducts that don't actually do anything for the car, what happens to them? Let's take a quick look at the lifespan of a spew.
What exactly is the destiny of these tiny rubber whiskers once the newly inspected tire finally rolls off the assembly line and actually hits the pavement? Well, the lifespan of a spew is actually really short. Back on the factory floor, the hairs are formed during that intense curing process we talked about. By the time the car reaches the dealership lot, those little nibs are usually still perfectly intact, which actually acts as a great signal to buyers that the tires are undeniably brand new. But during those first few drives, as normal road friction is applied across different surfaces, we're talking asphalt, concrete, gravel, they're subjected to thousands of pounds of rolling weight. So within just a very short period of driving, they are worn away completely. The nibs just simply disappear.
When you zoom out and look at the big picture, these little hairs actually tell a massive story about modern engineering. Modern tire manufacturing uses mind-boggling extreme heat and pressure. It requires incredibly precise, microscopic venting to prevent fatal structural flaws. And it involves rigorous engineering inspections to ensure every single unit is perfectly molded and road-ready. So what looks like a totally random, almost organic quirk is actually hard evidence of a highly controlled, just brilliantly engineered system.
So, to give you a quick, concise recap to take away from this explainer, vent spews are literally just the mark of a perfectly molded tire. What starts as a confusing, everyday mystery in your driveway is actually a super reassuring sign of quality manufacturing. If you see those little hairs on a brand new set of tires, you know for a fact the mold did its exact job, the trapped air successfully escaped, and that tire is structurally sound and 100% ready for the open road.
Which kind of leads me to this final thought I want to leave you with today. Think about it. If something as incredibly simple as a tiny rubber hair holds this much engineering brilliance and scientific precision, what other manufacturing secrets are hiding right in plain sight on your daily commute? The world is just absolutely full of incredible design waiting to be understood. If you love diving into this with me today, please like, subscribe, and share this explainer, and we'll keep unraveling the fascinating science and engineering all around us. See you next time.